Oh, really? Stories. And where are the ones that
Morning, everyone. It's 10 a.m. We ask you to rise for the gracious and loving God. For today, we honor and recognize the institution of corrections. For President Ronald Reagan. Famous week in May to honor those that serve in the field. Those safe and secure operations are managed by approximately 32,000 trained professional personnel. We're thankful for those dedicated professionals feel that most without shoes. Safety, I'll assist the individuals making change. For the recipient. Father, we ask you to bless their work. We ask you for protection over them. This Sunday we'll celebrate our mothers. Thank you for creating our moms, combination of gifts and talents. The love and sacrifice that a mom provides, God is like no other. Time, perseverance, flexibility to do 10 things at one time. Testament of their love. We ask you to bless each mom, provide them their needs. They raise their beautiful children. And it's to honor thy mother, so each day we respect. Other another aspect of our child's foundation are the teachers. They guide and help educate them throughout their years. We recognize the Teacher Appreciation Week. We're thankful for the teacher's dedication and service. Role models that go beyond the call of duty and out of the classroom. They invest countless hours educating the world's generation. They sacrifice their own resources to help the child's future brighter. They do it out of love and kindness. Thank you for your dedication. Our most important treasure, children. And may we honor each other and respect each other by listening to time with empathy. Ask for wisdom and grace.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good everyone. Time we meet, public meeting. Ask for approval of minutes.
I'll make the motion.
First side. Aye. Any public comment on agenda item? And proclamation.
That's Brad.
Brad will have some comments after that.
Whereas Pennsylvania's corrections system, originating under the leadership of William Penn in 1682, first to suggest changes in punishment for crimes and continues to evolve. Whereas the Pennsylvania system, as it became known, was the leading influence in the development of penology throughout the 19th century and forerunner of modern correction. And whereas 1984, Ronald Reagan issued Proclamation 5187 of National Correctional Officers Week and formally recognized the corrections profession, the difficulties and at times dangerous nature of the corrections work. And whereas corrections officers are trained law enforcement professionals dedicated to maintaining safe correctional facilities and ensuring public safety. And whereas secure and safe operation and management rest in the hands of trained, skilled, and dedicated professionals, from corrections officers, to treatment specialists, to parole agents, to reentry specialists, and workers in various areas, all committed to a common goal, the effective and humane operation of our correctional facility. And whereas correctional officers and employees teach, train, mentor, counsel, and treat inmates in order to provide inmates with direction, hope, and new focus while assisting reentry and life outside corrections. And whereas selfless concern and the courage to endure whatever ordeal they face are commonly held values among our corrections officers and employees, their contributions of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication often go unnoticed. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Lycoming County, proudly proclaim the week of May 4th through May 10th, 2025, as Correctional Employees Week, in recognition of the vital role performed by correction employees in protecting the public, in providing the care, custody, and control of inmates, and urge all citizens to support the efforts of correction employees and recognize the many areas of operations of the system in which they are involved on our behalf. Signed by Lycoming County Commissioners Scott L. Metzger, Chairman, Mark C. Sortman, Vice Chairman, and Mark Messina, Secretary. Word.
Morning. Thank you, Commissioners. It's my privilege to be here on behalf of the employees of the county prison and accept this proclamation for Corrections Employee Week. Commissioner Messina rattled off that proclamation. At the end, he talks about care, custody, and control. And I think most people, when they think of corrections, they think of corrections officers. But it's important to recognize that this is Corrections Employees Week. Care, custody, and control means a lot more than I think people even realize unless you spend every day working in a corrections facility. We have corrections officers, safety and security staff, because the primary goal of our facility is safety. Safety of everyone who enters that building, both inmates, staff, visitors, professionals, everyone that's in the building. Safety is our primary focus, but we have to maintain that building. So we have maintenance staff that are there all week long, but are there on call 24 hours a day to come in and make sure that the building continues to operate safely and securely. We have treatment staff because not only is there a penological interest to corrections, but there's a treatment side. So we have treatment staff that come in and provide services to inmates because we know that they're not going to stay with us forever. They're going to be re-entering into society. Medical care becomes a very big part of our facility. We have 24-hour medical care at the county prison, and oftentimes nurse people back to health when they come to us in poor health. Oh, okay. Food service, because obviously we're going to be having to, while we house people, we have to feed them, and we provide a very valuable food service. And I'm pretty proud of the service that we provide in that facility. Our administrative staff, day in and day out, the clerical staff that I have, they keep us operating. They keep me on my toes and definitely keep me informed of how things are operating both inside the facility, but also with our vendors and just the volunteers and the other professionals that we work with. All of these staff perform these duties with professionalism, and it's important to recognize that it's a very unpredictable environment, can be a very dangerous environment, but it's also a very routine environment. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, there's always something happening, and we strive to maintain that routine. But we've seen many challenges. I was just talking to Eric Fortin. You're going to recognize him for 30 years of service. And we talked about how things have changed just in the 30 years that we've been here. And within the jail system, it's the same way. It's not just about sending people to jail and keeping the county and the citizens of the county safe. It's about providing them with services to assist them. And there's been a push towards that type of treatment and the idea that when people are released, we want them to succeed. We don't want them to return. We've seen a tremendous uptick in mental health issues. And that one of the things that we've recently been training our staff on is mental health first aid. Because many of them, although they're there as correctional officers, spending 24 hours a day operating that environment, they have to also be mental health professionals as well. And we partner with the Joiner. We have 2 full-time mental health professionals in our facility that provide care to the inmates, provide services. So it's definitely an acknowledgement to their accomplishments and their dedication and commitment, but we couldn't do this without the support of the Board of Commissioners, without our prison board, our courts. Looking around here, there's the sheriff's office, there's adult probation. We work very closely hand in hand with those agencies on a daily basis. And we couldn't accomplish our goals without their support and commitment to us as well. And then also our outside agencies that we work with in the community. It takes a team, and certainly we have a good team in place, and we appreciate this acknowledgement. As much as we like to stay here and be recognized, we do have to get back, but we do acknowledge our staff with, we had a meal earlier this week that the commissioners attended. We appreciate that, and we'll be serving a meal later on today at the pre-release center to acknowledge our staff out there as well. But I thank you very much.
Well, thank you. You mentioned about how things have changed over the years. I was over talking with some of the staff on Tuesday, and we talked about when that prison was built in 1986. There were 6 women in the county prison, and how that's exploded. The mental health, how that's exploded. We used to do a program in probation that Agent Fortin, Supervisor Fortin, and I used to do for different agencies. And one of the gentlemen that went through that program spent 17 years in San Quentin. And he said, I went in with a heroin problem, came out with that heroin problem and mental health issues. And I had to get help. So that's exploded. So we see so many different things that have changed over the years that the prison staff has had to adapt to and try to solve. The goal is to make sure that that individual doesn't come back to the system. We want them to succeed. There's individuals that come through the system that just make a bad choice or two. By the grace of God, that could be anybody. And so we want to see them succeed. Prison guard or a counselor has a major impact on that. They treat those individuals and say, listen, I'm here to not be an adversary, but to try to help you so you don't come back through. Commissioners?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is, and I know I say this often, but it takes a certain personality and a certain person that chooses this for their career, because you see a lot of negatives all day long, and you're the one to keep the positive and help direct those people to a better way of life. And I think here in Lycoming County, we do an excellent job of it. So I can't thank everybody enough, but it definitely is it's a career choice. It isn't for everybody. So we appreciate the people that have chosen to do it. Thank you.
The first thing I want to say, as I was listening to you talk, there's a word in the proclamation. It's penology. Is it penology? Because I asked him how to pronounce it beforehand, and he said it's penology, but you said penology. So if I said it wrong,
Potato.
it was our solicitor's fault, because I asked him how to say it. I'd say one of the best compliments that we could give to you is, Mark and I we're not as new here, but we're still relatively new. And in our year and almost a half now that we've been on the job, there's been there's so many departments, there's so many things going on, and there's times that we come in and we have a problem here, we have a problem here. There's not been one time that we've come in we have a real problem with the prison system, whether it's you guys or out at the farm or whatever. It is, and I don't know if there's any higher praise that we can give you guys. Because you talk about the professionalism, you talk about the changes, and I personally didn't know there was as much. We keep hearing about mental health, and we need to do better with it, but you guys are doing better. There is, I never realized how much healthcare went into it. You talk about people at the prison. You assume, if I work at the prison, I'm a guard. You could be an RN. You could be a mental health professional, and I'm impressed with how much you guys are doing in that aspect as well. But just the fact that there's not been one day that we had, hey, we need to have a meeting right now because we have a problem at the prison. It has been, you guys have been like clockwork, and we appreciate that. as much as everything else.
Thank you.
Another big change was the PRC. That was where we had lunch.
Yeah.
That wing there was where those offices were. Now we have a whole separate building out the farm that has managed PRC.
Yeah.
With staff that's probably 4 or 5 fold. So that population's also
Have expanded. Yeah.
exploded.
Yeah, we've expanded.
Yeah.
Sure, over in the last 30, since the original jail was built and opened in 86, there's been tremendous expansion.
Both male and females. Yeah. I think we'd like to get a picture with you and your staff, the ones that are here, that are on camera
We
showing.
have a few of them here.
Come up and be recognized.
My bad. We're not much of all that I am.
There's a, we'll balance it out. There we go. You did the year. So, yeah, I was on the year.
I'm confident in your ability.
Slide.
All right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have a special recognition of someone who's been with the county for 30 years, and that's a good one to come up and recognize Eric Ford.
So was he sentenced to 30 years or not? So it's up now? You're just getting at it? Congratulations.
I told Eric that since he's not retiring, I'm not giving him a long speech, but we got some comments together for him. So first off, Eric, congratulations on achieving the milestone of 30 years with Lycoming County. 30 years, that's 3 decades. And today I went online and found out that is 1,560 Mondays you made it through. You have worked longer than 7 of our employees have been on this earth. That's all I'm going to say about the age thing. I'm done. But your journey began when this field looked very different. What I know hasn't changed value is your commitment to the people we serve and your fellow employees. As a supervisor, you're always available for your staff. You give honest feedback and you do truly care about them. I've worked with you for only the past 3 years and I've benefited from your advice more times than not. You have always had the ability to be a voice of reason when needed most. I think that's the Eric Fortin wisdom that you do have, right? Okay. Anyway, I wanted to end with a quote, and this ended up being a little shorter than I thought, so sorry. Simon Sinek says, leadership is not a license to do less. Leadership is a responsibility to do more. I think that this describes your approach to your work and to your employees. So congratulations again on 30 years. Here's to another 30, Eric. Okay. John's going to say something.
Morning. Dave and I roast Eric almost every morning. We start the morning out in Eric's office. Why we do that, I don't know. The chief has the biggest, nicest office in there, but we start out in Eric's office every morning, and we have a lot of good fun in there. So Eric, I'm going to keep this pretty clean, but I like to put into perspective a little bit things that were going on when Eric would have been coming out of college. Also a Lycoming College graduate. 1995, the nation was the O.J. Simpson trial. Year of the Oklahoma City bombing. It was the release of the first Pixar film, Toy Story. And the top song on the radio at the time was Gangster's Paradise by Cooley. Top movie that year was Braveheart. And the top three sitcoms were ER, Seinfeld, and Friends. And the Broncos won the Super Bowl that year, and the Atlanta Braves won the World Series. I didn't mention any other sports because Derek and I, other sports don't really much matter other than baseball, football. So, although I don't know if you knew, but Eric was a wrestled all through high school and was a 4-year wrestler at Lycoming College, which so I played collegiate football at Lycoming College, was a strength athlete. Eric was probably, what's the statute of limitations with court admin being here on? Violations of the code of conduct. It was clean. It was clean. So Eric and I, when I was a young guy on the job, we spent a lot of field shifts together, worked a lot of late nights. It was maybe eager to prove myself with a collegiate wrestler one night in the office. So pretty big strength gap, pretty big size gap too. And admittedly, I wasn't able to take Eric down. He's pretty tough. He was a good wrestler. But so coming out of college, and Eric started his career in the juvenile probation office. And I look at the qualities that it takes to work in our field: patience, communication skills, adaptability, critical thinking. You have to be organized, compassionate, and understanding. And the 25 years of my career I've spent working with Eric when he was an officer, having his background in the juvenile field. When he carried a caseload, he managed mostly 18 to 25-year-old, mostly males, many with a history of gang violence and/or drug and alcohol addiction. And listening to Eric over those years, with his office being across the hall from mine, Eric embodied many of those qualities that I talked about, with patience and communication skills, and the sacrifices, if you think about, that you have to make. Was it 1,500 some Mondays? And even as a supervisor, Eric's been a supervisor now, I think, since 2018. We asked that our staff, we work second shifts Monday through Friday. They work weekends. We just did a color call for treatment court at Geo reentry on a Saturday, where they pulled over 100 plus drug tests. Hours and hours of training on the range, in the cold, in the wet, late night sacrifices. And even as a supervisor, Eric continues to do that. He grabs the shovel and gets in the ditch and puts the work in. And for that, you have my respect. So congratulations.
When I received my 10 and 20-year pin, I didn't need these. Thank you, Dave and John. I appreciate it. It's been great. Pleasure coming to work and working with you guys, as well as Sarah and the rest of the office. We might not always agree on everything, but that's what makes our team stronger. I appreciate it. Thank you, commissioners, for this recognition. Much appreciated. In this day and age, I know it's unusual for someone to work in the same place for 30 years, but here I am. It's a source of pride for me. My dad worked at the Williamsport National Bank, where CareerLink is now, for 42 years. That's a long time. Maybe that's where I got some of that longevity from. I'd like to acknowledge some people that I work most closely with every day: Jen McConnell, Judge Butts, Adrian Stahl, Dave, John, Sarah, and the rest of my office. You've all been great to work with. And you're just a few of the people who have made work these past 30 years so enjoyable. I reflect back on 30 years, and it's like, who was still here? Obviously, Commissioner Metzger was, Judge Butts. But I'm one of the few that were part of the good old days, we like to call. And when I think of the good old days, I think about when I first started here, you could smoke in the courthouse. Before computers, we were using typewriters. Mr. Metzger had a full set of hair back in the good old days.
No, I really did.
And when I first started in juvenile probation, it was not uncommon that we used our own personal vehicles, and oftentimes transporting juveniles in our vehicles, taking many trips to the Wellsboro Detention Center with said juveniles in the backseat of my car. To all the probation officers who are waiting for me to retire and take my position, I'm not going anywhere yet. Plus, my wife won't let me retire. And I hope to see you all back here 30 years from now when I'm 83 years old and I'm getting my 60-year pin. Thank you.
Eric, I had the pleasure of working with you many years. How long were you in juvenile?
3 years.
3 years. And then he came over to probation, and, you know, it was nice because he had the background then of juveniles and learning the adult system. So it was helpful to us with some of the youthful offenders that were coming through, and but he was always a professional, cared about his work. We had a lot of fun with him. Jeff Whiteman was his partner, which was Jeff had to like to have a lot of fun with his partner. I can think of one time they were doing fire drills. We had one yesterday, and where we go during a fire drill, and Eric says, "Well, where's the northwest corner?" So Jeff drew a fire map and put it on his door, and he put Daddy's Bank, because he worked across the street, Daddy's Bank right here, and he drew a little arrow so Eric knew where to go on the fire drills. So, but yeah, it was very helpful. But we had a lot of good times of the year, but at the same time, Eric had a true desire to help people. He's always there to talk with his clients. You know, you'll see him out doing wrestling in the community. He's great with teaching kids about the wrestling. His great family, his wife Stephanie, and his 2 kids. I saw Jack went to the prom. Wow, where'd that time go? So great family and good father. So thank you, Eric, for what you've done. And I know that your staff has a good supervisor, person to come to when they need to talk about cases. So thank you. Is there anything else?
You know, besides thank you, there's really nothing else that I can add to that. I do appreciate that you put 30 years in it, and you know, to your comment that it doesn't seem normal anymore, but hopefully we can get back to that normalcy with people that, you know, because I think you join a family, there's more to your job if you've been around 30 years. So I appreciate that you gave 30 years of your life to the county, and thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, with the 30 years part, jokes about people's age are always fun until you realize that you're just as old as the guy they're joking about. And then it's not. Scott mentioned wrestling. I know you've been an official for years. Are you still reffing? And I know that has nothing to do with this, but just the community service part of it. And I know you get paid a little bit, but it's as a youth sports official, it's more about giving back to the community that is getting paid, and we don't have enough of those. And so, you know, obviously your dedication to the job, your contributions to society and our local community are important as well. So, yeah, I see 30 years, and sometimes I wonder why didn't you get a better offer somewhere along the way? But congratulations for that. And yeah, obviously you've been an asset to the county, and we're glad that you're not done after 30 years. We're glad that your wife's making you come back to work tomorrow. So we would like to thank her as well.
Yes.
Eric, on behalf of the department and all the officers, we also made you a plaque. I know they're going to give you something. Everybody signed it. Just want to thank you for your service.
If certificate and the pen, we'd like to give it to you. Are you sure?
That one's in a nice frame. This is just on a piece of construction paper.
They did a better job than we did.
How much better is the department?
All right, count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, bid openings, Nikki.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
We have one bid, the 2025 Emergency Watershed Protection Projects. We did receive 6 bids for this. The first one is Aquatic Resource Restoration Company, $4,020,000. Cuz Excavating came in at $689,305. EGR Excavating, $1,902,760. Glenn Hallbaker, $2,416,750. Mitchell Knorr Contracting, $2,360,210. And Smith Excavating, $834,998.21.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Commissioners, just to clarify with these projects, there could be some that they're doing all the projects and then some individualizing as well. So there's probably why there's a big spread here on that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Steve, you mind repeating those?
I'll give you the paper.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't need this one, so.
I can get mine.
Thank you.
Excuse me, may I get one?
Sure.
Thanks.
Okay, reports, Vic, Nikki.
Okay, the first report I have is for the cash requirement report presented for your ratification. Our invoices due through May 14th, 2025, to be paid on May 7th, 2025 for $901,156.32. That's 72.34 out of the general fund, 2.35 out of the ARPA, 8.32 out of other grants, 8.47 out of RMS, and 8.52 out of escrow. And that adds up to 100%.
And their dad saw Nikki as we were approving these. And I said to Nikki, it's great watching be under $1 million.
Yeah. It won't be next week, though.
Oh,
Sorry.
All right, well, wishful hope.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you.
Mhm.
A motion to accept the accounts payable.
I'll second.
On fair side? Aye.
Okay, the next item I have presented for your ratification are poll worker training to be paid on May 7th, 2025, $13,357.50. That's 100% out of the general fund.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll second.
On fair side? Aye.
Then I have vote to approve the credit card cash requirement report for purchases from March 27th, 2025 through April 24th, 2025 in the amount of $3,183.72.
Approve.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
On fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And Nikki, I just want to add back to 4.2, we want to thank our poll workers. It's not an easy job. They don't get paid very much. It's a lot of time. And we appreciate their dedication and commitment to the community. Without our poll workers, we wouldn't be able to be successful in our elections. But we want to thank them. Moving on to informational items.
5.1 is me, to acknowledge that the county will be requesting bids for dishwashers needed for the coroner's office bill. This is for them to do proper examination as needed.
Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Wait a minute.
It's just an
It's out
information
there,
item.
yeah. Okay, but we don't need to vote on, okay. Just informational item. Okay, at this time, we'll recess our commissioners' public meeting for the salary board. Meeting salary board at this time.
Okay, all I have this week is vote to approve the salary board minutes from the May 1st, 2025 meeting.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll turn to salary boards at the time we convene commissioners' public meeting. Right, personnel actions.
Hi, good morning.
Morning.
Approve the following personnel actions as conditional offers of employment, subject to the successful completion of a background check and all other employment conditions as outlined in attachment A. In juvenile probation, Jesse Wagner, juvenile probation officer 2, union, full-time, 23.82 cents per hour, 80 hours per pay period. Anticipated transfer date, May 11, 2025. In the prison, Stephanie Starr, licensed practical nurse, pay grade 10, full-time, $30 per hour, 80 hours per pay period. Anticipated start date, May 19th, 2025. Also in the prison, Haley Phillips, correctional officer, union, full-time, $20 per hour, 80 hours per pay period, with an anticipated transfer date, May 11, 2025. And in resource management, Randy Clayton, equipment operator, pay grade 6, full-time, 21.6815 cents per hour, 80 hours per pay period, anticipated start date, May 12, 2025.
Okay, motion to approve.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye. Sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners, remember the action items. Nancy is trying to call in, so if you could
Yep.
dial in, please.
Morning.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Hey, I believe you're up.
I am. First on our agenda is we're asking for your approval for our Juvenile Courts Judges Commission JPO Services Grant Award Notification in the amount of $242,417. This is an annual allocation through JCJC to offset operating costs of JPO.
Okay, good news.
It's always good news.
Yes. Motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And then for 8.2, we're asking for your approval for our George Junior contract for contract season 25-26. As you see the fact sheet, there's varying different programs, so it's different prices for each program.
Okay, thank you. Motion to approve.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Thank you.
8.3 through 8.4 is Ken George.
Morning, Ken.
8.3, Commissioners, is a change order for the coroner's build. We are switching from a electric dryer to a natural gas dryer. That's what the change order is. There is no cost to it. It's just a change in the contract.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
8.4 is a change in a foot-operated faucet in the autopsy room or the room where they work on the bodies. They have a sink that they need to be able to operate with the foot, and the sink that was called out there, you have to turn the knobs on before you can actually operate with the foot. So they have to switch that out to keep it so their hands are free.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
8.5 is Leslie.
Morning, Larry.
Today, we're seeking your approval to sign up for a new county website. And for us to do this, this will give us ADA compliancy. So we're seeking your approval for that today in the amount of $36,500, and it is in our 2025 budget. I've been working with the company, and they've been great to deal with, or to work with, actually. They are, at the end of the day, they just want us to be happy with the website. So any changes that need to be made, they're more than willing to work with us, and they've been great to work with. But they just want to let us know that at the end of the day, whatever we need to make us happy is what they're going to do. So yeah, it's been great.
Good. Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All fair side? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, Stacy is on call.
She's called in.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, there you are. Hi, Stacy.
Good morning. We would like to request approval for the appointment to the LEPC for Michael Hagan, Elizabeth Blauser, and Sam Miller.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Thank you very
Stacy. You have a good day.
You too.
Thank you.
8.7 is Malik.
Morning, Malik.
Seeking your approval for the amendment to the agreement with the Lycoming Clinton Joiner Board for their 22-23 fair program. They had delays with their program this past year, and this extension will extend them until April 2026.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Malik.
I have items 8.8 through 8.10. The first item, 8.8, is vote to approve resolution 2025-08 to expand the RVTA Board of Directors. This is for the county commissioners to join the River Valley Transit Authority as an incorporated member of the authority.
Okay, I believe we're gonna be recommending two members in the future. Okay, good. All right, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All fair side? Aye.
The next item I have for you is vote to approve the Community Development Block Grant Program contract. It's in the amount of $590,736. And we work through CEDACOG with this.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
Aye.
And the last item, 8.10, is vote to approve the agreement with Sapphire Health. This is at no cost to the county, and this is needed for the prison.
Okay, motion to accept.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
All fair side?
Aye.
All right, and then last we have Rodney with 8.11.
Where you riding?
Morning. Yeah, asking for the approval of 16 contracts so we can pay participants in cover crop program through the cap money that planning commission has received for this year.
Okay. Yeah, there's
There's a bunch of them.
You said 16?
Yeah, there's 16 of them. Currently have 14 signed and ready to go. And they're varying amounts depending on how many acres they planted.
Good. Is there a motion to accept them?
Sure, I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Any questions or comments? All fair side?
Aye.
Thank you, Rod.
All right, moving forward to commissioner comment.
I do, the only thing I had, I don't think county related, just to echo what you said in your opening prayer, Mother's Day this weekend. It's what an important unofficial holiday it is. Yeah, it is, I've heard mothers often say on Father's Day, the dads get to go golfing and get to whatever, and on Mother's Day, we invite people over and we make more work for them, and at the end of the day, they end up doing all the dishes anyway, so. I learned that when I had young kids. Remember, do things for mothers on Mother's Day that they actually want, and maybe sometimes just tell them to just leave the house and don't come home for a few hours and you'll take care of everything. But it is, I never realized how much better off Father's Day was than Mother's Day until I had some women explain it to me. So I've tried to do better with Mother's Day ever since, but just to keep it in mind.
I would echo that, and the only comment I'd make about Mother's Day is, I don't know if it's a bad thing or not, when I said to my wife that my mother lives down the street, so I'm not sure what your kids are gonna do for you. But I am fortunate enough to still have my mother at the age I am, so I appreciate that too. And I think the only other thing, and I don't want to dwell on it, but obviously we had a tragedy this Sunday in our community. if it does nothing else for you, just remind you of how easy life can slip away, and worrying about some of the dumb things we worry about all day long, whether it's our job here at the county or at home or the kids or whatever. It's precious, and hold on to it. Don't worry about the stuff all day long.
Our thoughts and prayers are with that family. Locator soon. Last night I had the honor to attend the Brotherhood Alliance dinner over at the Genetti, and want to congratulate the award winners, the individuals that we're all blessed with 24 hours in a day. See some of these individuals, what they do with their 24 hours is amazing. How they give back to the community. And one comment was, I'm sure they collected their award last night and they're back out doing it today, and not wanting any acclamation or praise or glory, but they did appreciate the recognition. But they're individuals that truly care about our community and give back. So congratulate each one of them. And nice evening to recognize those individuals. And one that had received an award but had passed away in the past year was Lonnie Campbell. And we know how important he was to us with Kappa, his music, and had an honor to meet some of his family last night, and to see his legacy carry on in his children, his love continue on in their lives. So, thank you. Any public comment from the audience? Yes, Mr. Stout.
Larry Stout from Montgomery. Just to follow up on Commissioner Sortman's comment about that tragedy. In my last couple of articles, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been focusing on volunteerism, and those people that were there to help find that child. I know in Clinton Township, our guys were there 9 hours. They literally almost had getting into the cold water all that time. They come back, kind of get away and go back in. I mean, it was just, they understood how horrible this was, and they went the extra mile. I mean, forgive the analogy, but anyway, I just think we again have, and it wasn't just Clinton Township. I mean, it was a whole group that were there and doing it and working through it. And, we have a fantastic county. And I mean, it's dreadful things like that. But when these people step up like that, I think we ought to just get on your knees and thank God that we have such a group. So anyway, just wanted to make that comment.
Any other from the audience? Any online?
There's a couple from online. There's a MC Green. What is the status of the juvenile holding facility for Lycoming County? And then there's one from Thomas Adams. This is a well-run and respected prison. All spaces are being utilized in a very effective and financially responsible manner. I think the governor is using this to give more unnecessary land to PSU. This will be very devastating to the local economy, families of local communities of prisoners and employees. This is causing a tremendous amount of undue stress on the entire prison population, staff, and inmates alike. May 15th is the target date for a decision. Thank you for your work and dedication to our county.
Okay, thank you.
And I would just to answer about his juvenile, we're working on it. We're looking at options. What we can afford, what's feasible. It's in the process, but we want to do it right. And we want to do something that works, but we don't want to do something that we can't afford down the road. And just because we haven't had one, there's a lot of rocks we have to turn over and research that we're doing just to make sure that we do it right. But we are progressing, and it is certainly something that is on our calendar. We're just, it just takes time.
And if and when the county does something along the juvenile end, it will be still. County will not run it. He's down to a juvenile operation who runs that. County will personally run that. Okay, any other thing? Over. Okay, we've completed our agenda, so our next meeting will be Thursday, May 15th, 2025, right here in this meeting room. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms. Enjoy your day. Thank you.